Hello, Endo sisters and supporters. Welcome to K&K Real Talk. This is episode 8, and we are covering self-care. Why is self-care important? How to do self-care, and how it's really a necessity. And we want to give you tons of ideas so that you hear one thing and go, okay, I could start there. So the purpose of today isn't to be overwhelming. You don't have to do all the things self-care. It's picking something that sounds enjoyable to you and trying it so that you can nourish yourself and help your body feel better, give yourself a better quality of life and feel good. So if you haven't met me yet, I am Kenny King. I'm a health, wellness, and life coach. I focus specifically on empowering women with endometriosis to reduce and even eliminate symptoms naturally and holistically. And I'm here with Kristen McCrovey. She is the founder of Endometriosis and Me, the website, the page, the groups that are going on. She just opened or started a brand new one, Endometriosis and Me Unleashed. So that is a fabulous closed group as well. Hi, Kristen. Happy to be here with you.
Hi. Happy Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday. So we're going to dive in. Kristen is going to guide us through 7 specific ways to do self-care. And we're just going to be going back and forth, expanding on each idea. And, you know, what's important about this is you don't only have endometriosis and the other slew of things that come from it. You also have this life that you're living and balancing. Maybe it's work, family, goals, education. There's all these plates that we're spinning, and it's so easy for us to put ourselves on the back burner. And one of my favorite things that I like to share with people is, you know, when we have that thought of, well, I have too much to do, I just don't have time for me, or it's like, yeah, right, I've got kids, there's no way, or yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, I don't have time. And I'd love to challenge that notion, because the fact of the matter is, if our cup is empty, we cannot serve others or fill the cups of others. We cannot take care of the responsibilities and the people who depend on us as well as we can when we are nourished. And sometimes we need to slow down in order to speed up, in order to balance all the things, live our life in harmony, and live the life of our dreams, and live in a body that is at ease, at peace, and is feeling good. We must take time for self-care. This is a necessity. This is not a luxury. And that's where we get stuck, is recognizing that self-care is an absolute necessity. And I am so sorry if you can hear my dog barking. He's freaking out because there's a vacuum going on right now. So he's not a big fan of the vacuum cleaner. It's the enemy of the state at the moment, or enemy of my house at the moment. So so you may hear that on and off, and, you know, I apologize, but this is a part of that balance. You know, this is that aspect. We create the life that we want with all of our additional responsibilities. So I'm going to just turn it over to you, Kristen, and let you take it away on that first step on self-care.
So when we are chronically stressed and inflamed, our fight or flight mode is activated. So while this process is necessary for certain emergency situations, more and more of us live lives in a perpetual state of tension, and this is not sustainable. The psychological effects of this include an increase in stress hormones, shallow breathing, increased blood pressure, muscle tension, decreased digestive power, and an overactive mind. So my number one tip is stop overthinking. Easier said than done, but work to calm your mind. Use mindfulness, and that can definitely help.
Absolutely. I love that tip. And I love that you brought up the stress response hormones because, scientifically, you have your autonomic nervous system and you have your sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. And that sympathetic nervous system is that fight, flight, freeze response system. And it goes red flag, there is danger. I got to keep my person alive. It's a brilliant, beautiful strategy. And you think of this as it's your hard wiring, and the system is ancient. The system is, since we've been alive, it's worked this way. So while your brain knows the difference between I'm stuck in traffic, I'm late to a meeting, and I'm a running for my life from a serial killer or a bear, um, your brain knows the difference that, oh, there's these different levels of stress, right? It's kind of like we have this spectrum. Even the good things, buying a house or getting a promotion, they register on the stress scale. And stress can be supportive in certain scenarios for our bodies. However, that autonomic nervous system, it does not discriminate what your logical brain will categorize. That autonomic nervous system turns that sympathetic system on and it says, fight, flight, freeze, we got to move, we got to do this, we got to do that. And it actually takes all of your blood and transports it to your extremities, so your hands and your legs, for fast movement, and to your brain for fast thinking. And it does halt, I'm glad you brought up digestion, it actually halts the digestive process. So if you've ever felt like you've just had a meal and it's just sitting there like kind of like a log in your system, that's a telltale sign, because it is. Because that sympathetic system came in and said, she didn't have time to digest this stuff. We're going to have to get back to it later. And what that does is that does slow the metabolism. Then by the time the body gets back to it, it says, store this as fat. Ain't nobody got time for this. That's what it does. And so the other side of that is your parasympathetic system, and that's the rest and digest response. And that's the part of us that goes, okay, she's breathing deeply, it's safe, I can digest, I can do this. So that tip of the stop overthinking, and I know, if Kristen, if you would have said this to me a year ago, I would have been like, easy for you to say, lady, like I don't have any control over what's happening up here. And that's not true. So if you're falling into that, and if you're in that process, we hear you, we get it, we have both been there. I can confidently speak to that fact. Like, we have both been there. So recognizing that, think about this like a muscle that you're exercising. It's, can I get better at slowing this process down and recognizing when I'm in a panic mode, it's not serving my body, and choosing when the brain starts going down the rabbit hole or spiraling out of control with stress and worry and all of those things that are very, very natural, slowing the breathing, calming, like bringing yourself to whatever this is for you, like a centered space. And I think we're actually gonna, the rest of these steps will come back to assist with this one. So we'll chat about that further in these few steps, but finding that space of the recognition that, okay, these thoughts aren't serving my ultimate health in my body right now. So I'm going to create some shift here. Is it going to happen every time? No. But if you start beating yourself up over this, like, oh, I'm thinking too much again, I'm overreacting, or whatever that is, I'm overthinking, I'm overreacting, I'm analyzing everything. Now we're like analyzing the fact that we're overanalyzing, and that doesn't serve the scenario. So I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, that's fabulous. I'll turn it back over to you, Kristen.
So step 2, in conjunction with mindfulness, would be meditation. I try to do this at least 3 to 5 minutes a day, and that's just taking time to center yourself, be in the moment, think about what you need to do. And in this time, I love to do deep breathing. Deep breathing calms your nervous system, your brain, your heart, and just allows your body to spread the blood where where it's supposed to go, and give you a clearer mind. So my tip for deep breathing when you're first starting is to put a hand on your chest and a hand on your stomach. And you want to feel, when you're breathing, you want to feel that stomach hand moving up and down, and this chest hand should just stay where it is. So you're breathing in through your nose to the bottom of your lung. You want to push that stomach out as far as you can and breathe all the way down to your pelvic muscles, just as deep as you can. You may feel a little bit of soreness at the bottom of your lungs, but that's just because you're not used to using that section. Generally, as humans, we do breathe shallow and we don't use our full lung capacity. So you want to feel that stomach hand really extend that stomach, and then breathe out through your mouth. So breathe in through your nose, hold that for a couple seconds, and then out through your mouth. I find it even better if I close my eyes to do that, just so you can kind of just be in your own mind, in your own element, and focus on the breathing. You want to be in the moment and like really focus on the breathing. Like you're basically saying to yourself, breathe in and out. And I never realized how important proper breathing is. I like, you just think, hey, I'm born and I just breathe naturally. Whereas you can literally slow things down. And I find it's really helpful for my anxiety if I just take a moment, do my deep breathing, center myself. I find that extremely helpful.
Yeah, I agree. I love the deep breathing. And for those of you who are like, I've tried meditation a million times, there's just no way to slow down my mind. Again, I think I can speak for both of us when I say, been there, I get it, and I hear you. So, two things. One is if you try this and you're like, this just isn't happening, this isn't working. One of my favorite things to use is a tool. I use guided meditation, and there are fantastic free apps, tons of them. I have a few on my phone, like I have Headspace and I have Simple Habit, and there's one, I think my favorite one doesn't even have an official name. But there check meditation apps, because they have them where there's like 2 minute, 5 minute, 7 minute, 20-minute meditations. So this doesn't have to be this big process, and it doesn't have to be something like, if you feel like you're a danger to yourself when you try to like center your mind, I hear you on that. Try the guided ones. And you can also find guided meditations on YouTube as well. And you can do it based on the time that you have and based on what you're looking for. Maybe you are just looking for a slow down, a reset, recharge. Maybe you're looking specifically for guided meditations for anxiety, guided meditations for healing. There are tons of them for peace, for energy, for sleep. And so keep that in mind, that doggy ear, that you can look on, you can look up an app and see if an app would help you and be really, really useful for a super short meditation. Another aspect of this with the deep breathing that I love to teach my clients is, when you focus on your breathing, you only actually need to do this for 2 minutes to turn on that parasympathetic system, which is the rest and digest response. So let's say you're having this stressful day and you're about to sit down and eat. Based on what I was explaining earlier, is if you're eating and you're in that sympathetic nervous system is turned on, you're not going to be able to process, digest, and assimilate the nutrients as well. So if you do some deep breathing for about 2 minutes before each meal, you're going to turn on that parasympathetic system, the rest and digest response system in your autonomic nervous system, so that you can calm the system and calm the body. So I love that you brought this up, the deep breathing. So a trick that I like to teach people is, one, you can just set an alarm on your phone for 2 minutes and just focus on deep breathing for 2 minutes. This does not have to be fancy. You can just take 10 deep breaths in a row. And I do want to teach you a trick though. I call it it's the 5-5-7 breath. You may have heard of this before. Maybe you heard 4-7-8. There's not a wrong way to do this. There's really not. The little key is slow and controlled breathing, and that the exhale is longer than the inhale. So what you do is you inhale for a count of 5, hold your breath for a count of 5, and then you exhale for a count of 7. And if you do 10 cycles of that, you're going to hit 2 minutes easy. And here's one of the things I've heard like my clients say before is they'll say, I feel like I need to take some breath. Like I'm not used to controlling my breath, and they feel like they're suffocating. Totally natural, totally normal. If you take a long, deep breath and you control it, and then you need a couple short breaths just because you're like, I think I'm dying here, do it. It's fine. It's completely fine. This does not have to be perfect. This is all just about slowing down and making this easier on you. So I love that. The deep breathing, absolutely. Meditation apps can help with that when you're calming and centering, because you're hearing somebody else's voice and you can focus in and hone in on their voice. And then that piece of 5-5-7. I know I just did 5. I talk with my hands, guys. I probably should tie them down, but that's me. So inhale, count of 5, hold for a count of 5, exhale. And you can do this on a count of 7. You can do this if you're sensing anxiety rising up within you. And you can just do this at different times throughout the day, and especially before mealtime to turn on that rest and digest.
Just to add to the breathing as well, with the 7 minutes of exhaling, the reason why you're exhaling more than you're inhaling is to release old air and carbon dioxide, making sure it's all out of your lungs to fill that with fresh oxygen. And with the apps, my favorite type of meditation, the guided meditation, is the body scan. Mm-hmm. So you're pretty much beginning at your head and working down your body and just being aware of every part of your body. They'll go like through your head to your feet, and just relaxing each part of your body as it goes. So my tip 3 is pamper yourself. Mm-hmm. Take baths, use bubbles, use Epsom salts. Epsom salts with extra magnesium is really good. You can get bath bombs with CBD or THC, or a combination of both, which I find super helpful for relaxing my body. You can also add essential oils. My favorite is lavender because it relaxes you and it makes you sleepy. So taking an Epsom salt bath with some lavender before bed is amazing. Get your nails done or paint them yourself. Get your hair done. Treat yourself to dinner or your favorite tea or coffee place. They're just focus on yourself and do things that make you feel good and make you happy and make you smile.
Absolutely. I do want to just go back for just a second. That exhale is count of 7. I know, Kirsten, you said 7 minutes, but we might have people passing out in 2 minutes. But I think everybody knows what you mean, but I did just want to put that little disclaimer in, count of 7. Don't exhale for 7 minutes. But I love this, pampering yourself. Yes, it is so crucial. And I love that you noted this doesn't have to be fancy and expensive. By all means, it can be. If there is anybody in the world that's worthy of your pampering and your care, it's you. So, making sure that maybe you're tucking money away specifically for self-care, fantastic. But self-care is sometimes carving out an hour or however much time you want for yourself each day or each week to ensure that you have time for you. Maybe it's reading, it could be reading a book, and it could be the bath with the book. You can put things together. For some people, it's sitting outside in nature and but with maybe a cup of tea, or, they're on their back porch and they want to listen and watch birds, or whatever it is for you. So my suggestion would be, make yourself a little list, nothing fancy. You can always add to it. It can be on a Post-it note or a piece of notebook paper. and like ways to pamper myself, and just what are some of those things that just make you go and just kind of feel cozy, feel good in your skin. And I'm a big fan of Epsom salt baths. And sometimes I've been known to, it doesn't have to be nighttime, it can be middle of the day, and I'll draw myself a bath if I've got a big enough break in my schedule. I'll just do that in the middle of the day, and I'll turn on music and I'll open my blinds so I can see the sky. And it just depends on, on the mood or whatever I'm wanting to do for me. And one thing that I think we forget about in self pampering is also like, anything that makes you feel good and makes you also feel sexy. So sometimes that might be going and buying new bras and panties, or new silky pajamas that just feel good on your skin. It doesn't matter what they look like, maybe they feel good, or a new robe, or just whatever that is that you need. So yes, pampering, we don't make that kind of to-do list, like my to-do list for pampering myself. And that is so crucial. There's no too big or too small when it comes to that list. So keep that in mind and figure something out that you want to do this week, whatever it is. And if you've got 15 minutes, you've got 15. If you've got an hour, you've got an hour. But make sure to put you on your schedule and find some ways to pamper yourself. Yeah, love that one, Kristen.
So my next one, number 4, is take one lazy day a week. Now I know lazy is not necessarily a good word, but it's about taking time to yourself to relax. Doing nothing is okay. It is perfectly okay to do nothing. And it may take some getting used to do that. Maybe you're go 7 days a week, 15 hours a day. I'm not sure of what everyone's life is like. I know that everyone nowadays is extremely busy, but you need to take that time to relax, recharge, repair. Your body fixes itself when you're sleeping and when you're at rest. So in doing that, I say watch your favorite shows, watch your favorite movie, sit out in nature, like Penny said. Nature is a natural stress reliever. When you are in nature, you just feel more relaxed. Lay out in the grass and tan and read a book for a little bit. Do some gardening. Do whatever makes you feel calm. Calm your body down. Nowadays we release so much stress hormones because we're overworked, we're overwhelmed, we're over sensitized.
Mm-hmm.
Like our senses are on max all the time of traffic going everywhere and people and going place to place and running out of time and rushing. And you just need to take that time to slow down. Take a break. It's okay to do nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. We are so conditioned. It's now normal and expected that we're busy all the time, that we're in a fast pace. And let me tell you that if you're a person that cannot sit still, like if everything's quiet and you like have to be scrolling social media, that's a telltale sign that you've now come to a point where it's like there's an expectation of your brain that there's always something happening, and we miss so many things when that's the case. And we make ourselves sick. So I know that this is a part of the conditioning, and slowing down can be really tough. And I love that you brought this up, that the word lazy can have like a negative connotation to it. So let's reframe that and let's call it recharge, like a recharge day. And perhaps for you, if you are, just like Kristen was saying, if you're going 7 days a week and at 15 hours a day or whatever your pace is, and you're just going nonstop, your recharge day, it's not like you have to clear your schedule for 24 hours or something like that. What if you said, okay, this day of the week, it could be your Thursday, your Sunday, whatever. Every Sunday, I'm taking 2 hours for my recharge day. And then eventually you bump it to half a day. And then eventually you have a full day that's dedicated to recharging. And so maybe that's walking in nature with someone important to you. And I'm glad you brought that up, because as a health coach, I call nature, it's like vitamin N. Like the further we get away from nature, the more, a lot of times, stressed and tight and conflicted we become, because we're further and further away. And so whether it's laying at night looking at the stars, or whatever that is, that it's sitting by the water or on the water, or having dinner near a lake, or just whatever that is for you. For me, the water is very medicinal, like the water in the mountains. Yeah, both very medicinal. So finding that place to figure out what will work for me, what will recharge my batteries, and thinking of it like that, what will help me feel refreshed and recharged. Sometimes it's just our nutritional choices. Sometimes it's taking that space to plan for the next week so that you don't start Monday feeling like a crazy person. It's different things for different people, but recognizing that you give yourself space each week to slow down. I promise you that once this becomes routine, it's easier to speed up, because you come back like recharged and alive and ready. And if you're never getting to that point where you feel energetic and ready and recharged, there is a piece missing in your life. There is something that's not getting nourished. And that slowdown of your week, that reset, that recharge, that's the key to helping you determine what area of my life needs to be nourished that's not getting any attention right now. And that doesn't always come up for everybody right away, but this is so powerful. And this is one of my crucial aspects of programming when I'm working with a client, because it takes the cake is what I was gonna say. Like, this is definitely, it's an important, crucial piece. So glad you brought that one up.
All right, guys, number 5, don't be afraid to say no. Your real friends will understand if you are in too much pain to make plans in the first place, if you're in too much pain to cancel plans. A real friend will understand that you need to take that time for yourself. You can't burn yourself out doing things for everyone else. You need to be able to say no to someone else, because that's saying yes to yourself. Saying no to them is saying, yes, I need this time for myself, and I can't necessarily give you my energy right now. I need to have that time to myself. And your friends will understand that. They'll remake plans with you, or they'll just get it. I mean, it's hard to say no, because I know that whenever my friends ask me something, I always want to say yes, because I am a people pleaser generally, and I just want to say yes, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that. And I end up overwhelming myself, and I have, like, even right now, I'll even admit right now, I am pretty behind on my reviews and blogs that I want to write on my website, because I've said yes to so many other things. So then that's taken my time away from something that I love, which is writing reviews for you guys and blogging about my life and my experiences. So don't be afraid to say no. It's okay to say no. You don't have to say yes to everyone. You don't have to please everyone. Put yourself first. If you don't have the energy, you're in too much pain to do something, don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's boundaries. It's setting boundaries, and this can be tough. I'm probably the once upon a time I was queen of the land of people pleasers, and so, man, it can be tough to say no. It can be tough to quit a job that you need to quit. It can be tough to do what you need to do to say yes to yourself. And I love that you brought up the yes and no, because this is a part of honoring your yeses and your nos and your schedule and your life. And Good gracious, I'm just so sorry about him barking. If you guys can hear that, I should have brought him in here with me. I might grab him whenever we switch back. But anyway, having that, every time you say no, and it feels really tough to say no, and you're about to say no to something, perhaps ask yourself, what am I saying yes to? So maybe you're saying yes to your self-nourishment, your needs, your best life, your health, your whatever it is, and then build that list up. So let's say you're making and this can be applied to every aspect of your life. So for example, if you've made a decision that because of your symptoms and you're wanting to reduce the severity of your symptoms, so you're going to eat a certain way to see if that helps, you will inevitably hang out with somebody who's not eating how you're eating, and they will make a comment about it. And it has nothing to do with you, it has to do with them. But when we do something that other people, and it shows other people what's possible, and they and for them it's a mirror of the choices they're not making for themselves, they'll often make a sabotaging type comment to make themselves feel better, and to hopefully kind of pull you back onto their side for a few reasons. One, it's they're not doing this on purpose. They're doing it to make themselves feel more comfortable. And they're more comfortable if everybody around them is just like them or stays in the same place. And when we're growing and nourishing ourselves and taking steps towards our own personal growth or evolution, that challenges the current state of relationships. And a lot of times we hold ourselves back from what we really want. So maybe we don't do the things that we want to do or that are important to us because we're so busy saying yes to others. But when we say yes to others, it's also crucial to inventory, what am I saying no to right now? Is this something I really want in my life? Is this something that's empowering? Is this something lifting me up? Or is this something that I'm saying yes because I feel obligated to, or because I believe that I should? And so finding those boundary lines is really, really crucial to our overall health and our overall self-care. And it's up to us. We are 100% responsible for our health and our happiness and the quality of our life. So going back to the food scenario, if we say, if it's just the food and maybe we have, this glutinous dairy laden product in front of us that's full of sugar, dairy, and gluten, and it's like the trifecta of inflammation, and we're attempting to make different nutritional choices to see how healthy we can get our body. And that food, it's like it's old habits and patterns that are on repeat when we're making that decision. And so I hear this a lot in my practice. I can't say no to the sweets, or I can't say no to the vodka, or I can't say no to the potato chips, whatever it is. And it's like, okay, but when you say yes to that, what and who are you saying no to? Well, and then listing that off and being super factual about it. So for me, it's, well, I'm saying no to high energy. I'm saying no to a pain-free month. I'm saying no to pain-free sex. I'm saying it like it's like there are all these things. And once we build that list up and we recognize it, it becomes so much easier when we're choosing us. Because the truth is, when we say yes to others and other people and things that are challenging, where we want to draw a boundary, we're saying no to ourselves. And man, I don't know, but I mean, Kristen, how do you feel when you say, I want this thing, and somebody says no to you?
Horrible, and I want it more.
Yeah, but we don't think about how often we're saying no to ourselves, right? Like, we don't think about it that way. I'm saying no to me, and I'm saying no to me over and over and over, and it's this perpetual cycle. And so once we get really clear, it becomes easier to say yes to ourselves. And so what we do is we practice saying yes to ourselves more and more, versus practicing saying no to everybody else. Saying no to everybody else doesn't feel good, but recognizing, how can I say yes to myself? How can I honor my boundaries? How can I meet myself in the middle? How can I make this compromise so that I am honoring my needs? So I love that you brought that up, saying it's okay to say no.
with talking about food, my next tip is number 6, and that's eating healthy or clean can be very helpful in not only managing your endo symptoms, but also managing your stress, anxiety, keeping your mind sharp, keeping your body energized, keeping your just keeping like awake. I never realized how much food mattered. You always hear the saying, you are what you eat. And I was like, pish posh, that's just nonsense. But over this last year, I really realized that's real. If I eat crap, I feel like crap. If I eat good, I feel good. And I didn't realize how simple that is. When you eat things that are processed and chemicals and pretty much fake food, empty calories, you're gonna feel sluggish. You're gonna feel run down. When you eat things that are fresh, you feel way better. The rule of thumb is if it had a life, it's good for you. Fruits, vegetables, some grains are okay. Meat is really great. Protein, amazing for your brain, your muscles, feeds so much in your body. Nuts, anything that came from the earth should go back into you because you are part of the earth. That's why nature makes you feel less stressed out. That's why eating better food, eating live food is better and makes you feel better. You are part of the earth. We are all connected, whether we feel like it or not. We are all the same species, and we're connected to the world, to nature, to animals. Why would we think that a baby animal is cute? Well, we are connected to them in a way. We're animals. I know many people don't think like that anymore, but we're animals. We're the top of the food chain of animals. So we need to be like them, eat things from the earth, and live well. And with eating also, I'm just gonna throw in what you put on your skin, because your skin is your largest organ, and things that you put on your skin is going to enter directly into your bloodstream. So if you're using like crappy lotion that has like BPA and phosphates and things like that, that is not good for you. These things, like things in our environment, such as food, things we put on our body, pesticides, chemicals in the air, all of these things contribute to the endo. These are like new things to the world. We never had things like cancers and things like that before we had all of this technology and chemical compounds to make food last longer or make completely new food just out of chemicals, basically. It's very, very important to put good things in and on your body, because that will help you feel better, look better, and be better.
Absolutely. 100%. Practically speaking my love language, lady. Yes. Nutrition plays a huge, huge role. And so, and there are different foods that support different bodies. So there's a lot to be learned there. And I know that this is something that you might be like, yeah, I've heard it, but are you doing it? Like, and it doesn't, you don't have to be perfect. You do not have to figure it out overnight. You don't have to like change everything overnight. That's not even sustainable. That's not realistic. 98% of people who go on diets fail. And there's reasons why. It's because we take this all or nothing approach. So it's like finding, how can I add more nutrients? So I always look at food instead of like good food and bad food. I like to think in terms of nutrient dense and not nutrient dense or nutrient depleted. And so when you're making a food decision, you can look at, am I feeding and nourishing the cells of my body or an emotion? Because a lot of times we're eating on emotion. A lot of times there's something else that we're responding to. And it's just finding ways of, even if you're still making the decision to eat things that do not serve a body with endo or just a human body in general, how many things can you get in your system that do serve a human and a body with endo? Can you really hydrate yourself? Can you just add some veggies or greens? Can you take a whole food multivitamin? Can you just up the ante and up the quality of products of what you're already eating? That's one of my favorite go-tos in the beginning. If you're trying to change your nutrition, look at what you're already eating and just find healthier options and alternatives for that food. And that doesn't have to be fancy. So if instead of counting calories, maybe you count chemicals. So if you're looking at, I do agree with Kristen, if it had, like, if it's from the earth, if it's not in a package, if it's not processed, it's normally better for you when it comes to food. But let's just talk about, if you're used to eating potato chips, you're used to eating potato chips. And I'm not going to tell you that tomorrow you can't have any. That doesn't make any sense, and you're not going to like that very much. So and it's not sustainable. But what if you buy them and you look at two different packages, bags of potato chips, and you count the chemicals? If one has five ingredients or five things, and one has 20, you just go with the one that has less. Doesn't matter what the number is. Maybe one has 40, one has 20. You go with the one that has less. And if you start doing that, you're going to naturally start ridding yourself of the chemicals in the system, the processed junk in the system, and you're going to get closer and closer to real food. Ideally, at some point, 5 ingredients or less is considered like whole. And the very first ingredient on anything is what it has the most amount of. So when you turn something over and it says sugar or whatever the first ingredient is, that's what it has the most of. So keep that in mind. That's just a little tidbit. And I wanted to say one more thing. I love that you brought up what's going on our skin. We don't realize how important this is. And for women with endometriosis, this is crucial because it's not just all the chemicals. Like, they're noticing babies when they're born, they have over 200 man-made chemicals in their system. They test the umbilical cord blood, and they've already got over 200 chemicals. Now, I know some people want to say, Kenny, everything's a chemical. I know we can have that conversation. If you want to have that conversation, absolutely. I hear you. I feel you. But we're also talking xenoestrogens. And if your products, if your hair products and your makeup and your skincare products and your laundry detergent and everything in your home has a whole lot of the xenoestrogens and and I know they're now making plastics without BPA, but you still have to be kind of careful with that. That is having an impact. We know that endo is an estrogen dominant disorder. It is having an impact. It is having an impact on your body. So there's an awesome app. It's called Think Dirty. And you can now, don't let this depress you, because it can piss you off. It can make you really mad, because this happened to me. I buy a lot of like natural organic products. And this is for like bath and beauty products. This is for your shampoos and your soaps and your lotions and your makeup. And it has a little scanner, and you just scan you scan the code and all the stuff in your bathroom. And when you have a product that you think is fabulous and you bought it because it's natural and it's registering at an 8, you're like, because they've got a scale of 1 to 10, you're like freaking out a little bit. So, or you might be mad, and that's okay. Use what you have. If you feel completely uncomfortable, toss it. But use what you have, and then just look at what you might want next. So again, this doesn't have to be overwhelming. You do not need to throw everything away in your house. You don't got to do that. But just one step at a time, just working toward finding products that are going to help reduce that biological stress on your system, because those xenoestrogens, they are interacting. And this has been a big part of my personal healing journey, is ensuring not just the nutrition, but my environment. What toxic load is my body undergoing that has an impact stress Biologically, it actually impacts every layer of stress there is because of the toxic load. It makes it hard to lose weight, so it impacts weight loss resistance. And then, of course, it does interfere with inflammation in your system and specifically the estrogen aspect of endo. So I just wanted to speak to those things. So what's next, Kristen?
Exactly. And just adding in with the healthy eating, water, 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 water. Make sure you're drinking enough. Make sure your organs are hydrated, your skin is hydrated. A little quick tip of how to make sure that you are hydrated is just pinch your skin on the top of your hand. If it bounces back, you're hydrated. If it stays like that or is slow moving, you need more water. Now, number 7, exercise. Now, I hate exercise. I hardly ever do it, but I'm working on it. We're all a work in progress. So I'm working on adding more movement to my life. So for me, I suggest anyone with endo, chronic illness, to do low impact, especially to start low impact. So things like swimming. Swimming is amazing. There is little to no pressure on your joints when you are swimming, and you can just float, kind of move your arms to start, and that's already going to be working your core muscles. Walk around in the pool. So walking is also one, but you can combine them with doing walking in the pool, which is, again, less pressure on your joints, a lot easier. And if you're tired, you just lift your feet up and float and take a break. So you can also do regular walking, which is generally what I do. I've never ran. I've never been a runner. I hate it, and I don't think that it's particularly good. For me, I am pretty overweight, so my joints hurt even when I walk. So you want to start slow. If you are someone who just had surgery or have been bedridden or are just wanting to incorporate more movement, start slow. Start with like 5 minutes, or if that's even too much, 2 minutes. Just, you can even start walking around your house and time it. Just get that body moving. Motion is lotion. A body in motion stays in motion. The more you move, the more you can move. And I think it's important to know that. Like, where you spent a day in bed, you wake up the next morning and you are stiff. Your body hasn't had that movement to get that blood moving around to all your extremities, everywhere it needs to be, moving in your organs to help with digestion and breathing and your heart. The more you move, the more your blood will flow and throughout your body and get rid of toxins by sweating. Gives your body the opportunity to add more oxygen to your blood. Just move. It doesn't need to be exercise or working out. Just move more than you are.
Absolutely. That is so perfect. In fact, I actually love using the word movement because a lot of times we think exercise and we think of like this regimented rule book of this is what fitness is and this is what it isn't. And it's just movement. If you want to hula hoop, hula hoop. If you want to rollerblade, rollerblade. If you want to turn on music and dance while you're blow drying your hair, that's one of my favorites. I do music in the morning. It kind of starts my day, and it gets, and I dance around, and then if you want to do a dance break in your afternoon, and then a dance party in the living room with the family in the evening, or by yourself, or whatever, it's what way can you move that feels good?
Roman.
If it's not my dog, it's your dog. It's the one or the other. At least we both have them. Yeah. What do you enjoy? Like, think back to the last thing that you did that involved moving, whether it was walking around and shopping at the mall or going for a hike. It doesn't matter. There's no rule here. And then seeing, can I incorporate more of that in my life? You can do stuff in the water, on the water, paddle boarding, yoga. I mean, just anything that makes you feel good. And it speaks to sweating and reducing the toxic load in your system, and to assisting with digestion, assisting with energy, assisting in all of these different ways. It does support and help endo. And it also assists those of us who have battled major depressive disorder, anxiety disorder, insomnia, all of it. Because I actually, before I really was managing endo with holistic health, I was actually using nutrition and exercise, primarily exercise. It started with exercise, the nutrition came in after. I was managing my depression and anxiety and insomnia with exercise. That's where it started. That's where I fell in love with wellness, and I started recognizing all these doctors, these medical professionals were going straight to medicine. Nobody ever asked me, how much movement do you get? How much sunshine do you get? Are you stressed? Where, like, what are you eating? Like, what's going on in your life? And so when I started noticing that, oh my gosh, I actually was able to get off of all of the medications I was on that were making me worse, and got to move toward getting the natural boost in serotonin and boost in the dopamine and all of those feel good chemicals from nature and from movement and fueling. Food is fuel, and I was fueling my body in a way that nourished it and allowed it to repair and heal and reduce inflammation. Everything else feels better, and you kind of come alive, and you're not ever going to regret it. By the way, if you start increasing your movement now, and just increase a little bit. And I also hear this a lot. People say, well, can I have a really active job? So I am moving. Okay, so what's something that you're not doing? So if you're bending and stooping and reaching and you're doing that and you're on your feet at your job, your movement, it might need to be yoga, so that you're getting different sides of your body. There's all kinds of different yogas that are fabulous. All of the categories are great depending on you and what you like. But so that both sides of the muscles get, so that the counteracting muscles get support, get strengthening, but also you get that stretching and movement in all these different areas. Or maybe you need a less rigid form like dance or like rollerblading or just like something. But go jump on a trampoline. I mean, jumping, who doesn't like to jump? Or just jump rope. That's a really fast way to burst train. They talk about burst training and like high intensity interval training, and burst training is a little bit different because you don't do it for a long period of time. Whereas a high intensity interval training workout, you might do a 30-45 minute workout. A burst training workout, you can literally do 3 30-second bursts and do that 3 days a week and totally change your life, where you do 30 seconds of jump rope and then you let your heart rate come down, and then you do 30 seconds of jump rope again, let your heart rate come down a little bit, and then do 30 seconds again. Do that 3 days a week and see if it doesn't change something. It's going to change something. And so it's not this, oh, I need to be at the gym for 2 hours, or, oh, I need, there's no rules here. It is move the body. Because just like Kristen said, a body that is in motion stays in motion. And here's the important thing about that. If you want to have access to the use of your muscles as you age, if you want your quality of life to be, and this is why I exercise, I want to be able to get up and go to the bathroom all on my own, unassisted, until the day I die. That thought keeps me moving. I want to be physically independent to be able to do what I want to do and not be totally broken down. So can I 100% avoid that? No, I could get in a wreck tomorrow and lose the use of both of my legs. I'm not saying I can avoid that. Can I consistently move my body in a way to maximize its efficiency, its effectiveness, and help myself be strong and capable and energetic? Yes, absolutely. All day, every day. Well, not like moving all day, every day, but you know what I mean? So yes. So there's no excuses for this one. You don't have to do anything spectacular. Just move in whatever way that you might enjoy, whatever way that moves you, whatever way that you would love. And playing with the kids counts. And going for a walk with your partner counts. It doesn't matter. So that's my 2 cents on the movement piece.
2 extra things I wanted to add for movement is exercise releases endorphins, and endorphins make you happy.
Mhm.
That is a natural happy hormone that is released when you move.
Mhm.
And the second part is when you're not moving, it only takes 2 weeks for your muscles to start breaking down.
Mhm.
So really keep that in mind. It is so much harder to rebuild those muscles than to just keep them strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. It reminds me of a quote. I did this, it was actually a yoga video. Her name is uh, Guru Ratana, I believe. It was a really interesting yoga that I'd never done before. And I love this. This has stuck with me ever since this one day hearing it. And she said, the secret to a happy life is to laugh and sweat every day. And let me tell you, I am not like I'm just like Kristen. I am not perfect. I am a work in progress. We are all a work in progress. Um, but that's sort of like I kind of use that as a mantra or a code because I know that if I'm living that way where I laugh and sweat every day, I am happier, I am healthier, I am having less panic attacks, I'm having less anxiety attacks, I'm less likely to dip into a super downward spiral with my depression. I'm all of those things. In addition to my endo symptoms, I mean, all of it is impacted. And so I think that's such a perfect, like, we're talking about self-care. How do you care for yourself? You find that space to laugh and sweat every day. You find that space to nourish yourself, to pamper yourself, to move your body. Excuse me, to have a rest and recharge day, to have that or rest and recharge hours, rest and recharge moments. All of these steps, I mean, these were fabulous steps. I'm so glad you put these together for us. But it's if you encapsulating that self-care, it's all of the above and finding those ways of how can I really take care of myself today and every day. And some days I'll get off track. That's fine. Just get back on. Just get back on track. Yeah. Did you have anything else to add for today?
No, I love that you guys tune in. And don't forget to catch K&K Real Talk every Monday. And if you have anything that you want to discuss or you want us to talk about, or if you want tips for something else, anything that's on your mind, let either myself or Kenny know, and we can set up a video about it.
Yes, absolutely. Subscribe so that you don't miss these videos, and communicate us with us. Reach out. Kristen's website is Endometriosis and Me. That's also the same as the page name on Facebook. So it's Endometriosis and Me. Then there's of course the groups Endometriosis and Me, and then Endometriosis and Me Unleashed, and also you can follow me. I'm Kenny King, so of course I take friend requests, but you can follow me at Kenny Rochelle Coaching on Facebook. And however, even more importantly, is I also have a group that works in collaboration with Endometriosis and Me, and that is Endometriosis Nourish, Flourish, Thrive. And I focus on those holistic, those nutritional and movement related things that we can do to really thrive with endometriosis. You do not have to be a victim to your diagnosis if you don't want to. So we are so thankful that you were here with us today. And again, if you have a topic you want us to chat about, let us know. Do not hesitate. And we love you, ladies and supporters. We love all of you. So bye, guys.